Direct mail is one of my favorite ways for generating leads, and it can be used by anyone. You can print letters out at home, stuff them in an envelope, send them to homes, and now all of a sudden you have a tool as an individual rep, or as an owner or manager, by the way. You can have each and every rep on your team following the strategy to start generating really hot leads. The problem is when you use this approach the wrong way, your results will be dismal. You're not going to get the callbacks. So what you need to do is follow these 3 best practices that I'm about to teach you to get the most from your direct mail efforts. This video is in direct response to the questions that you have been asking me. The questions like, Adam, what's the best strategy to get the addresses and to mail the right homes? Question number 2, what do I put on the envelope? And what happens if I don't have the homeowner's name? Isn't that creepy? And then number 3, what do I stick inside the envelope to get the callback? So I'll be answering all those questions and then wrapping up this video with my best tips to help you integrate or use direct mail alongside your door knocking efforts to get wild results. Just like William, who was interviewed on this channel, averaging about $20,000 a month of commission. He sent me a text that he got $5,000 in a day by getting a call off of one of these letters, signing the customer up, knocking the neighbor's door using the pitch I'll be teaching you at the end, signing her up, and then sends me a picture from Hawaii. This is William, by the way, saying, hey, I wouldn't be here watching the sunset over the holidays if I hadn't committed to your program. Or like a gentleman who's working with me in the Pitch Pro movement, who was having difficulty with leads and wasn't getting that much from his direct mail. Then he switched his approach and now he's swimming in leads, as he's saying. Or another gentleman who's part of the Pitch Pro movement at 21 years old, using these letters for both storm and retail, and he's averaging a 71% tracked, by the way, 71% close rate. Wild results, especially when we factor in retail sales. So let's get to it. Welcome back. My name is Adam Bensman, the Roof Strategist, and if you're new here, welcome. Everything I do here on the YouTube channel and the podcast is designed for one simple reason, and that's to help you smash your income goals. And what better way to do that than having an incredible tool in your tool belt to generate cheap and easy leads, specifically when you can't knock doors, when the weather's bad, if it's raining or snowing, for areas that have been knocked to death, or for gated communities. So let's get right into answering those questions that you sent me. All right, that's the wrong one. Where's that thing that I'm trying to open up? Whiteboard, here we go. So where do we get the addresses? Now, remember this, a couple things on the best practices. Where do I find these addresses? Please resist the temptation to do this from your computer and just simply like trying to scrub addresses and blast things out and sit and pray for the best, because it just doesn't work. When you rely so much on the one letter going out, there's 2 failure points. Number 1 is the quality of the list, meaning if you're just blasting letters out, you have no idea if there's a yard sign in front, if they've had their roof done, if there's shingles sitting in their driveway, or if it's roof loaded. So what we need to do is get our eyes on the roof and see them to make sure that the list is quality and that they are, most importantly, qualified. Okay, so when I say quality, I mean qualified, meaning they actually will need a roof. Otherwise, what we're doing is wasting time trying to sell something to someone who doesn't need it. All right? Next, the other piece that I want to touch on when I talk about getting the addresses is the number of impressions. What do I mean by this? If you've never been in that neighborhood, and you never plan on going to that neighborhood because you hate knocking doors and you're just like, I just want to send this letter. Adam told me if I send this letter, miracles are going to happen. I didn't say that, because this is one impression. Now, there's a bunch of market research out there that shows how many impressions people meaning they've seen this logo how many times before they make a buying decision. And frankly, I've had folks call me up and say, Adam, I followed you for 5 years, and then they just become a customer. They may have watched hours and hours and hours of videos. Do you think anyone's going to come on here, watch one video and say, hey, I like this guy, I want to get what he has? No. It's about building authority, becoming familiar, and becoming recognizable. So as you've noticed with all of the top performing sales reps I've interviewed on this channel, they all say the same thing: breathing familiarity, camping out in the neighborhood, sticking and staying put, focusing on the neighbors in the neighborhood. And what happens is when a homeowner might get this letter, if it's the one and only time they've ever even heard from you, do you think they're going to call and be like, I am so grateful that they sent a letter? There's a chance, there is, and it has happened. But Do you think that's going to be better? Or they're going to get the letter. They might have seen a letter that you left at their door. They've seen you in and out of the neighborhood with the logo on your truck or your car. They've seen you up on roofs. They've seen yard signs as they come and go from work on their commute. And then they get the letter. There's familiarity. There's recognition. There's authority. You are the neighborhood roofer. So we want to use this in conjunction. So number one is quality, and number two is your presence. Because remember, one visit will not be the miracle cure. Excuse me, one impression from this letter is not the miracle cure. So best practice is to get the address, work this into your system when you're knocking doors, and get your eyes on those properties so you know that they are qualified and need a roof, which is best with your eyes, and number two, in a neighborhood that you're present. All right, now, question number two, how do I address them, okay? Let's just, let me take a step back. I don't want to confuse address and address. You know, I feel horrible for anyone trying to earn English as a second language because I struggle enough with English grammar and I'm a native speaker. So we're going to say, what do we do with the name? All right, let's make it simple. What do we do with the name? All right, the name on the address. So on this example, I wrote, this is just a sample here. It says Richard Perry. Now, there's different ways to get property owner data. Things like Spotio, hail trace, interactive hail maps, coal information. Let's see if there's other ones. Sales Rabbit, I think, carries some information in there as well. And then we also have County Parcel Search. Yes, free. So the other ones were paid. There's other apps like Land Glide, and some of my favorites, by the way, that are like little hacks are hunting apps. So I use Hunt Stand and On X Hunt. Let me pull up On X Hunt. So that's this app here, On X Hunt, and that'll pull up, if you click on a home, it'll show you the private property, the owner's data. So all of those are tools, both free and paid. And by the way, if you do the county parcel search, just search your county and write in the word parcel search. You can type in the address and it'll give you the owner's name. So address it to them if you can. Now, a couple little tips. If for any reason you don't have their name, write homeowner or neighbor, and you can play with it. I geek out on marketing, okay? When I say I geek out on marketing, experiment. Try just the first name. Try just the husband's name. Try just the wife's name. It doesn't matter if it's personal. So in an ideal world, you would reference one of those tools I just mentioned to put the property owner's name. And if you don't have it, don't let it hold you back. Just put in Dear Neighbor or Dear Homeowner, all right? Now, so we want to personalize if possible. You know what's funny? I went on a YouTube handwriting course, and I do pretty well when I focus. Apparently I wasn't focused enough when I wrote the word personalize. So when we put the name on there, we do want to keep it personal. Now, one other tip is on the return address, I like to keep the name off of it and just the address. So if you're sending these, maybe you have a home office or you're working at a home, use your home address. Don't put your name. If you do put your name, do not put the company name, put your name. But if this showed up, you would be very curious about who sent it. And funny enough, any one of my customers, and maybe they'll chime in, I send thank you letters to all of my customers. And I practice what I preach. And they get these and they send them and they say, man, it worked. I normally don't open my mail. You got me. And I say, I didn't get you. I wanted you to experience exactly what it's like to receive one of these letters, because that's how your customers are going to receive it. So you believe in the system, you see how it works, and you've experienced it firsthand. And second of all, to simply say thank you. It's just how I do business. All right. So again, name, personalize it. If you don't have it, write neighbor or neighborhood. Next, what do I put in it? Okay, what letter to use? Now, the important part of the letter is the right message. I've done a video on the 5 essentials for direct mail, and I pretty much teach like how to structure your letter, and I'm going to put a link to that video. That way you can watch it and you can use your own. And of course, I provide all of my letters for Storm, for retail, translated into Spanish, and for Florida, included in the marketing battle pack, and there's a link to that below. And I'm going to see if YouTube will play nice and let me put a link up here so you can click and check that out should you be interested. Maybe you already have it, and if you do, hopefully this helps you use it to get even better results. Now, what's important is the right message for the homeowner. So what do I mean by message? I'll give you an example. In my marketing battle pack, I have about 13 different letters for storm, 13 for retail, similar concepts for the Florida market, and then again, the storm material has been translated into Spanish. So the message needs to match what the homeowner's home might need. For example, what if I see a 3-tab roof? Well, I'm going to send a letter about their 3-tab shingle. What if I see wind damage? I want to send a wind damage letter. What about a discontinued shingle? I'm going to send that one. What about a letter that says, hey, are you tired of roofers knocking on your door? Okay, tired of d2d, just so I don't have to write all that out. What about a letter that says, hey, I drove by and noticed this, all right? I drove by on the way back from a customer's. What about a letter that says, hey, we're in the neighborhood because we're installing the neighbor's roof? So again, an install notice, okay? Or after you've done a roof, which is, hey, we've done roofs in the neighborhood. We did your neighbor's roof, all right? So I'm just going to write, we did neighbors, and I know this is shorthand, it's just so you don't have to watch me write, did neighbor's roof. So my point is, this is just a few of the letters that I've written that you can have access to in the battle pack, but you can also write your own by following the tips that I provide in that video, teaching you how to write these letters. But what's important is that you focus on the right message for the homeowner. All right, so now we know how to get the addresses with your eyeballs that they're qualified. We know how to address the envelope so they get open, the more personal the better. And we know that our message inside has to be very specific to what that homeowner may need that's relevant to their house. So it doesn't feel like some blasted message. We want it to feel personal. So now let's talk about getting the best results. By the way, William's not the only person who's reached out to me saying, Adam, this strategy has helped me open up neighborhoods and dominate. And again, William mentioned, and there you can see the testimonial he sent me, which was completely unsolicited on the website. He says he made me $5,000 in a day. And how he did that was this. He was in the neighborhood, and this is the best practices, by the way, so follow this. In the neighborhood, sees the home, knocks the door. No one's home, he leaves a letter at the door. It's a different letter. By the way, let me pause on that. You can use the same letters that are in here. In the program, in the strategy that I teach, I do provide separate letters to be left at the door. Okay, again, same plain paper approach. Then he sent the letter in the mail. So a few days later, homeowner gets this. They see it's addressed to him, and they don't know who it's from. So they're curious. So they open it up, and they pull it out, and they say, oh, wow. So they call William and say, I really appreciate how you do business because it was really personal, and everybody else was leaving these really glossy door hangers on my door. So he calls William up. William gets the lead. He goes out there, signs the roof. Bingo. Then he knocks on the neighbor's door. Now remember, he has been in the area, left a letter at the door, sent a letter in the mail, and he's been in and out. So these folks have seen him. There's familiarity. Being in it over and over again. Knocks the neighbor's door, and he didn't tell me word for word, but I know he followed the approach. This is my style of it. Hey there, sorry to bother you. My name's Adam. You know, I just left John's house next door. The reason I'm stopping by, I actually came by last week. You weren't home, so I sent you a letter in the mail. And while I was here working with John, actually he just chose us to do his roof. I just wanted to stop by and ask what questions you had for me about the letter I sent you. And all of a sudden, that homeowner says to William, holy smokes, I'm so glad you showed up. I actually have had your letter sitting on my counter and I've been meaning to call you. Hop up on my roof, let me know what you think. He comes down, signs her up. So the key message is this. William made $5,000 in a day using this approach. It can take some time. As with door knocking, it might be a few doors. It might take a little bit. I've heard people say, hey, Adam, I sent these letters out and I didn't get a call back right away. And then they say, hey, it was a week or two later because people get busy. So that's why we want multiple impressions. So it's this simple. Knock the door, leave a letter, send a letter in the mail, show back up. Now you have that reason to be here. Just like the video I did last week about the approach at the door. You have a reason to be there. The reason I'm showing up is because you weren't home and I sent you a letter in the mail. So I wanted to ask my open-ended question, what questions did you have for me about the letter I sent you? And you'll know, not did you get my letter? That's closed-ended, yes or no. What questions do you have for me about the letter? All right, so now you have all the tools in your tool belt to put this stuff to work. Now, I have teams across the US, Canada, and Australia using this strategy as part of the roofing sales success formula, which gets access for both individual reps or owners with a team to the complete strategy, integrating direct mail for all the key stages of the process, not only opening a neighborhood, but dominating it and all the letters to use. And you're welcome to check those out or get instant access using the links below. And if not, or if you're on a tight budget, or you're a do-it-yourselfer, I hope this video leaves you with the information you need to take these resources and start developing your own letters and your own strategy. So thanks for joining me today. And if you want more videos on using direct mail, jump into this playlist here. And if you haven't yet done it, I want to send you a free copy of my Pitch Like a Pro Roofing Sales Training video library, which is the easiest and best way to get all of my videos organized by category for easy reference. And you can click here to get that. We'll see you on the next video.